we need to obtain the value of the given trigonometric expression. So let us begin. So here we have the expression given by tangent of 20 degree times tangent of 40 degrees times tangent of 60 degrees times tangent of 80 degrees. Now, except for tangent of 60 degree, we do not know the values of any of the other trigonometric expression or the tangent function. So what we'll do, let's use the value of tangent 60 degree. That's as a standard value of square root of 3. So we get square root of 3 multiplied to tangent of 20 degrees times tangent of 40 degrees times tangent of 80 degrees. Now what we'll do, let's convert tangent function to its equivalent sine and cosine form. We know that the tangent function, that is the ratio of the sine to that of the cosine function. The tangent of 20 degree will become sine 20 degree divided by cosine 20 degree. Right. Tangent of 40 degree will become sine 40 degree divided by cosine 40 degree. And tangent of 80 degree will become sine 80 degree divided by cosine 80 degree. Right. The reason why we're doing this, because let's take these two expressions. Now in the numerator we have the product of two sine function, and in the denominator we have the product of two cosine function. If we multiply the numerator and the denominator with a factor 2, we will see immediately that what we see here is a transformation formula. When we have the product of two sine functions, it transforms as a difference of two cosine function, and if we have the product of two cosine functions, then it transforms as a sum of two cosine functions. Let's state the formula first. So we can see here that if we have 2 times sine A sine B, so this is the difference of two cosine function, and if we have the product of two cosine function, then we get the sum of two cosine function. Okay, so let's try to apply this formula. So we have square root of 3. The 2 times sine 20 times sine 40, this can be expressed as cosine of, now what we'll do, we'll consider A to be greater than B such that A corresponds to 40 degree and B corresponds to 20 degree. So we get cosine of 40 degree minus 20 degree minus cosine of 40 degrees plus 20 degrees. And in the denominator, we have cosine of A plus B. So that means we have cosine of 40 degree plus 20 degree plus sine of 40 degrees minus 20 degrees. And then we have sine 80 degrees over cosine 80 degrees. Fine. So let's further simplify. We're going to get square root of 3. In the numerator, we now have cosine of 40 minus 20. So that's going to be cosine 20 degrees. Minus cosine of 40 plus 20. So that's 60. So we get cosine of 60 degree. Divided by, so in the denominator, we have cosine of 40 plus 20, so that's going to be 60 degrees, plus cosine of 40 minus 20, so that's cosine of 20 degrees, multiplied to sine 80 degree, divided by cosine of 80 degrees. Okay, so this will be equals to square root of 3 times, now we know the standard value of cosine 60 degree. So cosine 60 degree, that's equals to 1/2. So we'll substitute it here. We get cosine of 20 degrees minus half, divided by half plus cosine of 20 degrees, multiplied to sine 80 degrees, divided by cosine of 80 degrees. We'll simplify this expression. All we have to do is multiply both the numerator and the denominator with 2. So we get square root of 3 multiplied to 2 times cosine 20 degree minus 1, divided by 2 times cosine of 20 degree plus 1. Whole multiplied to sine 80 degree divided by cosine 80 degrees. So let's multiply them. So we get square root of 3 times, so we have 2 times cosine of 20 degrees times sine of 80 degrees minus sine 80 degrees. Whole divided by 2 times cosine of 20 degrees times cosine of 80 degrees plus cosine of 80 degrees. Now what we see here is we get another transformation formula. We have 2 times cosine 20 times sine 80. That means we have the product of two trig function. One is cosine, another one is sine, and in the denominator, the first term, there's a product of two cosine functions. So here also we can apply the transformation formula. Okay, so let's do this. So we get square root of 3. So since we have 2 times cosine 20 times sine 80, we're going to apply this particular formula considering A is 80 degree and B is 20 degree. So we get sine of 80 degree plus 20 degree plus sine 80 degrees minus 20 degrees and subtract negative sine 80 degree from it. Whole divided by, so in the denominator we have 2 cosine 20 cosine 80, so we're going to apply this formula. So we should get cosine of 80 degree plus 20 degree plus cosine of 80 degree minus 20 degree plus cosine of 80 degrees. Fine. Now further simplification is going to give us square root of 3 times the cosine of 80 plus 20, so that's going to be sine 100. Sine 100 degrees plus sine 80 minus 20, so that's 60 degree minus sine 80 degrees. Whole divided by, so we have cosine of 100 degrees plus cosine of 60 degrees plus cosine of 80 degrees. Fine. Now let's work with sine 100 degree and cosine 100 degree. Now we know that sine 100 degree can be also expressed as sine 180 degrees minus 80 degrees. And we can further express 180 degrees as a multiple of 90 degrees. So we get 2 times 90 minus 80 degrees. The reason why I'm writing in this fashion, because we have an even multiple of 90 degrees, which means the sine function is not going to transform, it's going to stay sine, but the new angle is going to be 80 degrees. However, we'll also have to be careful about the sign here. Now since 2 times 90 means we're in the second quadrant as indicated by the number 2, so we are in the second quadrant, but then again we're subtracting 80 degree from it. But that's not a big issue here because 80 degree is an acute angle, so we're still going to lie in the second quadrant, and luckily in the second quadrant sine function is positive, so we get sine 100 degree equals to sine 80 degree, which means we can have sine 100 degree minus sine 80 degree, so this will be equals to 0. So that means we can cancel out sine 100 degree and negative sine 80 degree. Now coming to the other one, cosine of 100 degree. So this can be also expressed as cosine of 180 minus 80. That means 2 times 90 degree minus 80 degree. Same logic, we have an even multiple of 90. So cosine is going to stay as cosine and the angle will be 80 degree. But since we are in the second quadrant where only sine is positive, everything else is negative. So we get negative cosine 80 degree, meaning cosine of 100 degrees plus cosine of 80 degrees, so that is going to be equals to 0. So that in the denominator, cosine 100 plus cosine 80, they sum up to give us 0. Now we are left with square root of 3 multiplied to sine 60 in the numerator divided by cosine 60 in the denominator. So sine over cosine, this ratio is nothing but the tangent function. So we have tangent of 60 degrees. Now tangent of 60 degrees, that value is square root of 3. So we have square root of 3 times square root of 3, which gives us the value 3. So finally, we have obtained the value of a given trigonometric expression. So tangent of 20 degree times tangent of 40 degree times tangent of 60 times tangent of 80 degree. So that comes out to be equals to 3.